steal your segue.
No, it was a good prompt. So yeah, more news around Halo Infinite, and not good news. So the troubles continue with Halo Infinite, and it is quite odd. Just on as a side note, that all the boxes for the Xbox One, almost. I don't think I've done it too many times. The Xbox Series X has like Halo Infinite all over it, like all over the box. And it looks actually like a really cool box, by the way. I know we'll chat about that in a sec. But yeah, so one of the game's directors, Chris Lee, is leaving the project. And, he's done the right thing, in public, spoken very amicably about 343 and Microsoft. Hey, they're going to do a great game. Fantastic. But yeah, that's not a good sign. That's a really bad sign. And they've had other, people leave the project not even that long ago. This game is in massive strife, and they'll get there. They'll get a game out there, but yeah, how much of an impact the game's going to have, I really, really struggle to see how this game is going to, be one of the defining games for the Xbox Series X.
So I'm not worried about the game that will eventually come out. But obviously this is not a good sign. I'm not saying it's a good sign at all. But they've always generally done good by Halo. And that's the reason why they delayed it, There's probably multiple reasons, but they need to make sure this hits. And what's interesting is to see Phil Spencer kind of, I wouldn't say walk back, because he didn't really 100% confirm it before, but we talked about whether or not they'd consider releasing Halo Infinite as the campaign and multiplayer separate and split it.
Yeah.
Kind of almost said they wouldn't be adverse to doing it now. We'll see, kind of thing. So who knows? Maybe they'll actually end up launching with the multiplayer first.
I don't know what I said about that, but maybe I said the opposite of what I'm about to say, but I feel like they have to release it, the multiplayer. Like, surely the multiplayer is at a stage where they could release it.
Wouldn't be far off, that's for sure, unless they suddenly kind of just, reallocated all their resources to something, like else, like the campaign or something. But I'm sure there's completely different teams you wouldn't be able to do that anyway. But that's the way I see it going. I see the multiplayer, coming out. I don't know what month it makes sense next year, but whether or not it's February or something like that, and then the campaign coming not too long after, but not at the same time.
See, I'm a bit of a different camp than you. I think this game is not going to come out until like September next year.
The whole game.
Well, I'll say the campaign because that's like, it seems, I know that people really poo-pooed the 8-minute of gameplay. I think it looked really good. Yeah, there were some rough parts, but
I liked it.
It looked cool, man. Like, and Halo, it's, from a multiplayer perspective, it's not that hard to get right. Now I think they've added too much to the franchise, but it's not that hard to get it right. So yeah, I think, like you, probably like a February, bring out the multiplayer, but I really feel like the campaign's not going to be due until September next year. You don't leave if you're the director unless you're really unhappy, or they're unhappy with you, or where the game's at. It's just a terrible, terrible sign.
And we'll clarify as well that for now, at least, they've said that he still remains at Microsoft, but who knows what happens at that point. Who knows?
But I know, but that could be like he's redundant. He's in the redundancy pool or something like that. So, and also the really bad practice in the gaming industry, and I think this is really wrong, that most of the companies, they don't put people in the credits if they're not there when it ships. So if you worked on the game and then you've left like halfway through, they don't put you in the credits. And the credits are like huge for people's careers and everything, just as they are in movies, right? But movies are very different. They're very disciplined about how that all works. So yeah, there's a very big thing in gaming. Like, people don't leave unless the game's shipped, and then they all leave in droves if they've hated it. So the fact that you've got some real key people leaving, really bad sign.
Man, that just reminds me of, I don't know if they ended up patching it in, but I'm fairly certain that the Wii release of Akami didn't include the original developers of Akami in its credits.
What?
I have a feeling that was. So I remember that game specifically. Yeah, there was. Oh man, that was the game that released the box art with the IGN watermark on it. As well.
That's one of the greatest things to ever happen. It's so funny. You would have been stoked if you're IGN. Like, I get, this is a behind the scenes thing. I get annoyed when you've sent me a video and it's like an IGN watermarked video when there's just like a regular video without the watermark available online.
I think I'm usually pretty good with that, but
yeah, usually pretty good. But like it's happened a couple of times and I'm like, oh god, now I have to go find it. But that's like our little production thing. And yeah, we are over the top for a tiny little podcast, but how do you release a game with an IGN watermark? Like, how does that happen? Literally, like, I'm actually fascinated because that means that they've just downloaded and then sent it to the printers. Like, isn't that too low quality? Do you know what I mean? Like, normally you send really high quality assets to the printers.
Yep.
I just don't know how the hell that happened. That's so funny. It's like one of the funniest things I've heard. I couldn't believe it until I saw it myself. And then let's stick with Microsoft for a second. There's another piece of news that came out.